My name is Clara Griffin. I'm in Professor Shepard's Lang 120 class, and our topic was to write a research paper about happiness. So I'm going to pull up mine. It's conveniently right there. I wrote mine on the relationship between happiness and wealth. I wrote my research paper on the relationship between happiness and wealth, specifically looking at the association between an individual's yearly income and his or her reported level of life satisfaction. We hear the question, can money buy happiness, often? After looking at different surveys and studies regarding money and happiness, I think a better question to ask is, how much happiness can money buy? I adapted this graph from Ed Diener's article in Pursuing Happiness, as it measured an individual's yearly income and their reported level of life satisfaction. This data was derived from a study of German individuals and measured happiness on a 10-point scale, 0 being absolutely miserable, worst life imaginable, and 10 being quite a satisfactory life. As you can see from the graph, there is definitely a positive trend. But if we look at it critically, we can see that, including the lowest percentile, there really is not much variance among the data. Individuals earning over $200,000 yearly rated their happiness at a 7.75, while individuals making considerably less, say $60,000 to $70,000 yearly, rated their happiness at a 7.1. The $130,000 annual difference between the two individuals only correlates to a 0.65 value change on a 10-point scale. So what about the individuals making anywhere from less than $10,000 annually to $30,000 annually? Why does there appear to be a significant gap between that class and the rest of the data? I guess that can be easily explained. Money buys happiness to the extent of comfort. An individual making less than $10,000 annually is legally living below the poverty line. Similarly, an individual working 40 hours a week at a minimum wage job, such as a cashier at a fast food chain for example, puts him or her at an annual salary of around $18,000. Other jobs that pay below $30,000 include dishwashers, baristas, valet workers, telemarketers, and bus drivers. Not only are these unfulfilling careers, their subsequent salaries are just not enough to provide for a comfortable life. Poorer people have limited access to proper health care, safe neighborhoods, and a post-secondary education, forcing them into the same cycle of low-paying jobs. What about the middle class, though? Why does there appear to be such a small difference in happiness between those earning a salary of $50,000 and a salary of $80,000, according to Diener's graph? In fact, two professors from Princeton University named Daniel Kahneman and Angus Deaton, who's actually a winner of a Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences, argue that a $75,000 annual salary is the cutoff in which money will no longer buy your happiness. The psychologists argue that, around the $75,000 mark, you have enough money to comfortably support yourself and have extra cash to do fun stuff like go out with friends, travel a bit, and get a college degree. Honestly, though, that evidence isn't entirely backed by Diener's adaptation of the graph. It definitely is, to an extent. Maybe the professors overestimated their cutoff. It appears to plateau around the $50,000 mark, as opposed to their proposed $75,000. I'd like to think that the psychologists are arguing that it doesn't really matter where you stand in the middle class. As long as you're standing there, you're probably about as happy as those standing around you. But the biggest dissimilarity between Diener's argument and Kahneman and Deaton's argument is that apparently a salary of over $5,000 does make you happier. We can see in the graph that those earning $100,000 or more annually are in fact happier than those earning less. The important thing to remember about this, however, is that the rise in happiness is not substantial. So let's talk about the wealthiest people. Why are these people happier, however slight, than those earning a little less annually?
Basically, what I was going to continue saying in the PowerPoint was that, materialism is also a factor in why, wealthy people might not be happy, because, there are studies that say that wealthy people can adapt to their, circumstances and surroundings and just want, more and more, so they still feel poor because their aspirations outweigh what they have, so they feel inadequate. In addition, I was going to talk about why the $75,000 mark was kind of proposed in the first place. A woman writing for Time magazine said that, the reason behind that was probably because at around $75,000, you feel comfortable, you can go out with friends, but most importantly, compared to your surroundings, you feel like you've done pretty well. And so, if you augment, that $75,000 to, $150,000 per year, that individual making $150,000 is most likely going to feel accomplished in nearly any environment. But yeah, and I was going to conclude the PowerPoint by saying that, even though money can, provide for a comfortable life, after that, $50,000 to $80,000, it really doesn't buy that much, and even then the correlation is almost too weak to imply causation. So, there's a difference between comfort and happiness, and I just urge people to find more authentic sources of happiness than trying to become wealthy. Thank you. Any questions? Awesome, thanks.